All right, we are in the Nation Knockout 9-hole Cup. We just had the Panhellenic Games. I missed the opening round, and I finally got internet back Sunday night at like 5 o'clock. But I haven't had any internet for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and most of Sunday. But I'm back up now. Here we go. The Knockout Nation, and all these holes are at. Here's what's cool is all these holes are in, if you're playing rookie, you can come down to Tour 4 and at Chateau Lavande. Is it Lavande or Lavande? And so we can get them in Tour 4, which is cool because the last video that I shot was in Tour 4. Of course, some people gave me crap about it, but you know what? That's why we're rookies. We can play wherever we want. So you can come down here and play it for free. And I would encourage everybody to go play lots of Tour 4 this week. As soon as I get done shooting this video, I will be playing some Tour 4. Now, we haven't played this course very many times. If you go to YouTube and you type in Aught, O-U-G-H-T, O-U-G-H-T, Haunted Mansion, there's some video on there. And here's the cool thing, is Dunner and I shot video for this Haunted Mansion. This is another tournament. I wasn't able to play the weekend round, but we played the qualifying round and the opening round. But the first time we went and looked at them, we went out and did a practice round. So there's some really good video for that Haunted Mansion week on the shots. Good stuff right there. So let's go through what we have right now. One of the things that I will tell you that I noticed on this course when I was going through, and I went and I looked at some of the Haunted Mansion stuff, is this is one of the reasons why I say there is such a thing called elevation. It's real. It is. You're standing here and you're looking down here. There is an elevation change. You're standing here and you're looking up here. There is an elevation change. When we're in the game, you can see the tee box, or when it gets down here and it spins around and it looks you back at the tee box, you can see that the tee box is up higher than where you're at, or it's lower than where you're at. And so there is such a thing as elevation. But what it doesn't have anything to do at all is with the variable that we're going to add on to our shots. Because there's some of the holes on this course that are literally like this. And in the last tournament, in Haunted Mansion, we were doing a 50% adjustment. And I've seen other holes in the game that are like this, and we're doing a 20 or a 30% adjustment. And I've seen holes that are like this that we're doing a 60% adjustment. And I've seen holes like this that we're doing a 10% adjustment. The deal is that some dweeb at Playdemic plugged in some variable number there, and we all like to think of it as elevation, and there is an elevation change, but it has nothing to do with the percentage that we add on the shots. So I was really surprised on some of these holes how big of a percentage we were adding on, and you look at it and you're like, wow, that's not that much different than 90% of the other holes that we play, and we're doing 50%. Hole number one. We were going for it on this. We were bringing out a Zerk and trying to get into this pocket right here and drive it to the cup. Getting your bounces right, so you get a bounce up here at the top and then you can roll down. I don't know what the deal is. It looks like this is a sand trap, but I really think it's just rocks. I don't think it is sand like this. I think it's just another one of these types of rocks. And it wasn't really that difficult to get down there. I mean, you need to have a club that's got lots of topspin. And here's the deal. You can go, well, all I have is an EM5 or an EM6, and I don't have all the topspin to get down there. I understand that that's how this club works, okay, or these clubs work. So don't shoot the messenger. The game has come out with topspin boost, and you can get like a 5 or what is now a 10 topspin boost ball. And you can take this club right here and you can turn it into an EM9 or an APOC 8 as far as topspin goes. And so they've made these equalizers in the game. And the sad part about it is that if you've got mid-level clubs and you come out on this hole, you know that there's going to be a bunch of people in your bracket that are going to have bought. I was out playing, what was I playing? I think I was playing like Tour 5 or something. I came on just to play to see how strong the internet connection was, and I was playing a few games. And I played one opponent 3 times. And they went out there with a power 10 ball precision. They were using one of those balls that had the 5 stats in just regular tour play. So if they're willing to blow it in regular tour play, you know that they're willing to blow it when they come in here on these tournaments. And so it does give them a market advantage. So if you've got mid-level clubs, you really have to, and you don't have a ball collection, you're not willing, it's not about willing to spend the money. You just don't want to spend the money. I get it. I totally get it. I don't want to spend the money either. That's why I don't have a lot of those balls. Then you're going to have to play really smart and trying to keep yourself out of the rough and keep yourself in the fairway so that you can take great shots. So maybe you don't have the club inventory or the ball inventory to go straight at it. Instead of coming here, starting off over here. Now you could start off over here. Instead of bringing out a power 5 ball, you could come over here with a big topper and you could run that ball up into this area and put yourself in a very nice short iron, maybe even wedge shot right in this area right here. Trying to get yourself close so that you're in a consistent area and keep yourself out of the rough and sand. Especially if you have mid-level, low-level clubs, you do not want to end up in the rough and the sand. Those are the worst clubs in your bag. The very worst. They're not even close to being good. Excuse me. So I think if you've got upper developed stuff or if you've got the ball inventory, I'm going to go for the green every single time. I'm going to pull out a berserker and I'm going to go for it. I'm not going to bring out a topspin boost ball. I don't think I have any, or I've got just a few, and I'm not going to burn them on this. I'm going to go at it with a berserker every time. But I think if you don't have power 5 balls, coming out into this area right here and bringing your big topper and seeing if you can get into this zone, you're going to have a perfect shot. And the one thing that I like about this bottom area as opposed to driving it up here, because people that don't have big enough, they don't have the ball inventory to get over here, or they don't want to do the overpeg. You got to do overpeg, you got to do everything to get over here. And they're bouncing it from this. Is most of them will think extra mile because that's my big hitting club. Well, they had to pull it back from the red line to get over here. And then they don't have the top spin that a big topper has. This is a perfect shot. If you're going to go this direction, the big topper's even better because you really can't get up into here. If you got into this area with let's say you could get up into here with your big topper. Well, you're facing the wrong direction. And if you put curl on it like this, then you're terminating into the rough and sand. And what you really want to be doing is terminating where you're going on this line right here. You want the ball to stop so that you can get maximum distance. So you can draw the straight line to get out here, or you can come at it a little bit with this kind of movement. If you're not having to, if your red line with a 3 power ball is in here and you're having to pull back from the red line in order to make your extra mile work, your big topper will work better. Especially on a shot like this where you're trying to run it up. What I like about this spot better than this spot is this spot, X, is up here, and this spot is down even with the green. So that variable that I talked about is there's not a big variable down here. Up here there's going to be a huge variable. I myself am going to go for it every single time. I would rather hit out of the rough up here when you're close and get caught up in the rough, but I want to give myself that chance to get on there and just have to make a putter, a short chip. Every time. And that's the thing about this game, is they have, since the game came out, I mean, if you had mid-level, low-level clubs when the game came out, there was nothing you could do. You just had to play. But now they have enough ball inventory out there that you can enhance your clubs and make them much better. You don't have a club that has a lot of curl, you can bring out a bigger side spin ball. That's just the way it works. All right, hole number 2. What do we got for hole number 2? I think this is the hole right here, that right in this zone, I was bringing out a Grizzly and a Kingmaker, and I was at Max Club, and I think there was just enough room on a headwind day. Like if I had a headwind that was coming in, I had just enough room that I could work the wind out in order to use that Grizzly. You could come in here with a Goliath, and there is a rough bump that's here. And I think, well, let's look at the tee. So the tee box, I mean, we're running straight through that rough area. And so you could get up there on that corner and do a rough bump. For whatever reason that week, Dunner and I were not doing the rough bump. And I don't know if we were, which is surprising because Dunner would do a rough bump on, you could put one blade of grass over there and bend it over and call it a rough, and he'd be willing to do rough bumps on it. So there must have been some reason why we weren't doing it, but it's definitely there. And the red line's right in this area. On the day that we played in the video where I was watching it just to kind of remember these holes, because we don't have a lot of time and grade on these holes, I brought out a bigger ball so that I could use my Grizzly, and he brought out a smaller ball so that he was in minimum sniper. And when I was taking my shot, I did 0.9 per ring because I was at max Grizzly, and I did a 50% adjustment. He was at minimum sniper, and he did minimum sniper, which is 1.2 per ring, and he did a 40% adjustment. We both missed. I missed. I don't think I hit it perfect. But we were in the ballpark with these types of adjustments. That's what I'm saying. And when you get on this hole and you look at it, it does not look like it's like this. It's not very, there's not a big change in height. But there is definitely an adjustment that we were doing. Definitely. I was doing with my Grizzly, I was doing like 2 backspin, quarter right-hand side spin. And those numbers are all screwed up because we just changed the ball stats. So I think with 2 backspin, it would be 1 backspin today. And a quarter right-hand side spin would be a sliver of right-hand side spin. Not much. And if I remember correctly, it seemed like I was like 2.5 rings off of this transitional surface. I had half my blue ring was in the rough and half my blue ring was in the fairway. I was trying to give myself as much separation as I could from the sand so that if the wind was blowing from this direction, I didn't have to pull into it. All right, hole number 3. What do we got here? Okay. Obviously, when you look at this hole, there's a bunch of ways that you could play it. I was coming out with, once again, Berserker 5-power ball, and I was trying to hit right here and trying to get myself into this zone. And from here, I was mid-thorn or mid-short iron to the cup, and there is a rough bump you can do here. This is really a great hole for a thorn, because it does have enough topspin to get you there if you want to do the rough bump, or you could be right in front of the rough and it has enough backspin to woe you up to get there, or you could try the backspin shot. So you got a rough bump, you could stop right here and just try and run your ball guide up, or you could try and do the backspin shot. So the thorn really is a great club on this if you're going to use that as your short iron. If you don't bring your thorn, you might have a little bit of problems. I think I did take this with my, what did I bring on there? I think I brought a Kingfisher, and a Kingfisher's got enough backspin that I could start in front and then I could woe it up. But a Kingfisher doesn't have very much topspin. I think you could do it with, you could probably do it with a Hornet as well. But there are some great opportunities there. Now, the shot, I'm going to talk about this shot first. So if you're coming out here, we could draw an arc from the tee box. It's a max overpower shot, so you can draw an arc out here. So from the tee box out into this area, if you brought a 5-power ball, you could get to here, you could get out here. So we've got these options available to us. So you could come out with a lower power ball, like a 3-power ball, and your red line's going to be in this area. You could try and bring it around like this. This side doesn't seem like it presents itself as well because it's a little bit tightened up in here. I'm sure there is a shot on that side, but this side seems like it's a little bit better. I like this shot right here because you can try and get right out here in front. Now, I think I'm going to choke to death. You can look at this rough line right here. And so when you're coming on this trajectory, trying to get out, the more you go to the left, the farther your ball has to get out in order to clear. And so I was trying to keep my ball more to the right. I was actually drawing a line like this, and I was trying to get on this zone so that I had a little bit more room because I didn't want to run out of fairway over here if it came out a little bit too fast. And so I was trying to get just like right there, just trying to pinpoint place it right in that spot right there. But anywhere out here will work. But if you hit the ball great to the left, it's going to be harder for you to clear the rough and actually end up in the fairway. And I think when we were playing out there, that's exactly what Dunner did. I hit mine perfect and it ended up over here, and he had his great to the left and he ended up caught up in the rough. You still get a great shot from there, caught up in the rough, but this is one of those things, if you got lower developed stuff, you may have an issue. If you find yourself on this and you have lower developed stuff and you're like, man, I can't woe it up or I can't do the thing, You can do a rough bump out of this and just feed the ball out. You won't, you may not be able to get the angle to the cut, but you could at least do the rough bump and just feed yourself out. There's ways to get over here. And this is really dependent on what kind of clubs you have in your bag. It's not a bad deal if you could get yourself over into this zone, because you got kind of the same deal. If you come over here, though, you're less. This spot, you've got the rough bump. This spot over here, you're going to be more going straight to the cup. But if you could get your momentum right on this side, you could end up getting closer, and you could get up there. So it just depends on, and this is definitely a shot you're going to have to practice. This one's just brute force. All right. These are, the funny thing about these holes is I played them the other day, or last week in Tour 4, and that was the first time I totally even forgot this course existed, because we've played it so little. All right. You look at this picture, and this green looks like it's flat. Man, that's beautiful. But it is not flat at all. There is a ton of movement on it. And right up by the cup, like right up in this area right here, there's kind of some dips, and then it rolls off right after the hole. And it's super easy to roll off the back. So if you really want to make sure your speed is right, so that you do not roll off the back. This is definitely a hole that you have the possibility, if you go past the cup with any kind of speed at all, you could easily find yourself in the rough. I was taking the shot from way back here. And where was I at? This is Sniper Nav, and where was I at? I was playing, okay, here's the deal. I'm at minimum club, which is 1.2 per ring. If you have 100% accurate sniper, it plays 1.2 per ring at minimum. But I was playing it at max. So I was playing it at 1 per ring, and I was adding on plus 10%. So I suppose you could go 1.3 at 30% times the wind divided by 1.2, and you'd be about the same. The math doesn't always work out exactly the same, but it's usually down to the fractional stuff that's different. I was playing it at 1 per ring. So it was 1.1 times the wind divided by 1. Whatever this ended up being, that's what I was playing. Let's see if there was anything else good that we were having on here. I think I had half, and this is another one of those ones, I had half my blue ring in the sand. So I was 2.5 rings away from that sand. 3 1/4 backspin. These are the old numbers, so it's 3 1/4, divide that by 2. And a sliver of left-hand side spin. So that'd be 1.5. 1 5/8, just somewhere in that neighborhood. It won't take much. I'm not really happy with the way that the new stuff is. There's 9 top spin bars, and there's 5 side spin bars on either side, and we have 10, so that means each one of these is 2, and we have 100% top spin clubs, the big topper, and several other clubs in the game, and we only have 9, so that means each one of these bars represents 11.11. Is that right? 11? Something like that. Couldn't we just have it so that we had 10 on each one, and each one represented 1, because we have 10 here and we have 100 there? I guess that would be too easy. It would be too easy for us to have some kind of a scale to work off of, so why not? We really have never had more than 9 top spin, but I don't know why. We used to have 7 bars of side spin, but they changed it to 5, so there in the middle it was right, but now we're back to 2 per. Where are we? Where was I? What hole was this? That was hole number 4. Hole number 5. What do we got here? What were we doing on this? Oh, yeah. We were going from here and coming across and trying to leave our ball right here on this lip. Now, this right here, you don't want to get too close, because on the other side of that line, here it is. Here's that line, and then it just drops off to the sand. And so if you get past that little hump right here, your odds of ending up in the rough are pretty good. You could roll over if it just dribbled, and you could get stuck up here in the front. But it is, if you roll over the top of that crust, the likelihood is that you're going to end up in the rough or the sand. Just laying it up right here. And from right there, you've got once again, you've got a short iron right to the cup. I think on the drive, because it was carrying a mile here. So if you had a tailwind, it was carrying a mile, and the opportunity to overshoot this was monstrous. And if you had a headwind, it was pushing up against it big time. I think we were doing like a 50% on the drive. I'm not so sure if the wind was blowing from this direction that I would go with that 50, because I don't think I would want to over pull it into the rough and the sand. I would want to make sure that I hit out here, even if I did an underpull and I ended up coming on this path. I'm not so sure that I would do that big of an adjustment if I was going in this kind of wind. And we were just bringing it around and trying to get it to lay up right here. And I went back and rewound the video like 3 times trying to watch this, and I am pretty sure that we were talking about doing a -20 to the cup. I'm pretty sure. And I don't know that that's right, because I have no idea. This is one of those ones we definitely have to work at, but we were making this. So if that number's right, we were making that number for sure. What other ways could we go at it? You could just lay it up out here. Oh, I lost my pan. Hold on one second. All right, I'm back. I got it back. You could just lay it up out here from the tee box. You can bring it around this way and try and lay it up here and go for that shot. I suppose if you brought the right stuff, you could get it to dribble down and end up down in this zone, but I think the easiest way to get there is to go this direction. What were we bringing? This is a hole that we were playing with a 3 power ball, and I'm pretty sure we were doing max overpower, but we were only doing no more than 5 topspin. And that was with an extra mile. So if you got to max that extra mile, no more than 5 topspin. And that's, once again, this is stuff that you have to work out with your clubs. I think I did it with an Apocalypse and Dunner did it with an extra mile. So there's, either one's going to work. Either one will work. They will. I think. I'm sure. Hole number 6. My notes say extra mile Kingmaker plus 10 mark. We were doing the straight up shot, and I think we were just trying to lay it up right here. Not trying to. If I remember correctly, on this hole, I think my opponent pounded it down there. I'm sure that you could overshoot it, but I wasn't trying to overshoot it. I was just trying to get down here into the zone. And from this spot, you got a sniper to the cup. And this is another one of those ones down in the area down here. I was 3 rings of separation off of this transitional line. And this is another one I was taking the shot at plus 50 to the cup. You have to take the shot and see if we need to fine tune it. But we were doing some big adjustments on this course, and you look at it and it's and we were right there on it. There were several shots that I didn't make because I didn't hit perfect, and there were several of them that Dunner made and he hit them perfect. So I think I shot a 13, he shot a 14, but it's definitely, there's a lot of holes out on this course that we can pick up. I'm not so sure I think just about from any tee, this side right here is going to work better. I mean, if you're coming out here trying to get the same kind of distance to get out into this area right here, I'm not sure what the benefit would be. And I think it would be harder. Hold on. All right, I'm back. I'm on the road and it's my anniversary today, so I had to talk to the wife. I had to. Let me think about what I was doing on this hole. We talked about it. I was actually pulling back from the red line and I was at the plus 10 mark. So I had some room on a headwind day. So I evidently was not doing overpower. That's what I was doing. that is what I was doing. All right, what's the next hole? Hole number 7. Hole number 7. What's Tommy got? Plus 25. What do my notes say? I actually, okay, here's what I was doing on this hole. I was doing the rough bump, the straight up rough bump right off of this area, and I was using a navigator, a sniper, and a nav. And I think this is another one of those ones where I was at like mid or minimum club, but I was hitting it at 1-to-1. I'm not so sure on this hole that this isn't one of those holes that, here's the rough area. And when I'm on these little G-string type of roughs, I like to be dead center. And the other thing that helps you out too is when you do this for the first time, just to kind of see where you're at, you can look, and if you're hitting up here, you know the wind's blowing this way, you didn't pull it enough, and you hit back here, you pull a little bit too much, and it kind of gives you a little bit of visual cues. And I was dead center, and I actually was dead on track right to the hole, and I ended up just a little teeny bit short of it. And I think I had my ball guide going right to the hole, and I probably should have put it a little bit past, not a lot past it, but at least through the cup. And I think I was terminating like right at the cup. It looks like it was going to roll down, but it just came to a stop. But I actually hit in this spot. So if here's the halfway mark, I was like I was way too close to the fairway for my comfort. And I'm not so sure, but my trajectory was absolutely perfect. So I'm not so sure that once we get done doing the pull that we shouldn't pull it straight back like a quarter of a ring. I'm going to have to play with this hole when I get on it and kind of see what the deal is. But I was hitting at 1-to-1, and I was not in minimum club. I was either, or not at max, I was either in mid or minimum club with a navigator. And so that plus 25 is probably in the ballpark, because if it was at minimum club, it'd be plus 20. So, and the plus 25 might be right. Like, I might not need to push it forward. I might have had something wrong here, but there is definitely a straight up shot. The other way you could go at this to give yourself a little bit more room is to try and get out in this area and bring it around. You definitely need a ball that's got more than one side spin in order to do that. And I'm not sure. You'd have to bring out a bigger ball. So instead of hitting it with a sniper, you might be in long iron from over here. And I'm not sure what kind of topspin it would take, but there is, if you could get into this spot, it's not too bad of a deal, because from here, you're going to have a lot more leeway. There's barely a ring here if you got a really accurate club, but over here, you're going to have quite a bit more room. So you could work yourself, if the wind was blowing like this, instead of having to set it up where you'd pull over the sand, you could move it over just a little into this pocket. And if the wind was blowing from this direction, you could move it over here a little bit and open up that window. So you have a lot more leeway here. But when you're putting all that spin on it, a lot more stuff can go wrong than if you're just hitting the ball absolutely straight right at the cup. But this is super narrow. This is definitely a G-string. Not much room there. You can try and just bring the ball around where you're trying to come at it like this and get on the fairway and come at it. If you got a club with a lot of backspin, you could start right here. If I was doing this with a sniper, you could come out here with a Guardian and try and get it in. This would be a great hole if you were trying to use the Guardian, where you get one of those backspin boost balls. You might be able to do it if you've got an upper developed sniper and you brought out a backspin boost ball. You might be able to do it, and you'd have better ball guy with the sniper than you do with the Guardian. We have some options on that. I'm going to do that rough bump every time. That is what I'm going to do on that hole. Hole number 8. Hole number 8. My notes say APOC Kingmaker or a power 4 ball. I'm 100% positive we were going this way, but I'm not. So I think we were trying to get it on this side, and I almost felt like if you, it doesn't look like it's steep down here. Like, you look at this picture, this 2D picture, and it looks like it's just, it's like flat. You're like from here, and it just goes over to the green, but it is not. This drops down really hard, and Dunner in the shot that I was watching, he ended up in the sand right here. But it's like, man, if he'd have put on a little bit more topspin, because he didn't put on everything on the ball, that if he'd have hit it with just a little bit more oomph, it would have popped right out of the sand. I'm not so sure that I would want to try that. It seems like you'd probably end up getting caught in the sand more often than not, but we were actually trying to shoot to get down here to the end, and from there it was just a short little chip. On my notes, it was plus 40 to the cup from up here. And my note said 4 topspin, max OP. Because even with you're going to have to do the max overpower, I think, in order to get into this area, and then you get your bounces right to come over. So if you put it all on, you're definitely going to go over the end and try and have to get through that sand. I'm not so sure that we were doing this with a power 3 ball. And the reason I put power 4 ball on my notes was because if it was a headwind day, it would be hard to get into this spot with a power 3 ball against a headwind. But if you brought out a 4 power ball, it would push your red line forward enough that you could get into this area. Well, if you draw a line to that spot and we do our arc, so like, same kind of distance to get out into here. If you brought out a 5 power ball, you might be able to get into this window. It may only be possible on a tailwind day, but if you could get into that little spot right there with a club that had a lot of side spin or a lot of curl, and you had a ball that had a lot of side spin, you might be able to get it to go this way and go all the way to the cup. That is definitely a shot you're going to have to practice. I think most people are either going to try and just get it on this pad and go for it. Great rough bump here as well, or try and get all the way to the end. I'm going to be going for all the way to the end as many times as possible, but I think the first time I get this, I'm going to play some Tour 4, and if I get this hole, I'm going to try it from over here with a bigger power ball just to kind of see where I end up. Just take the shot and see where it ends up, just so that I know, like, hey, you're going to be way out in the sand. You're going to need a ball that's got 10 side spin, or even with 10 side spin, you're not going to make it. But I want to see at least what that shot looks like. But I think most people are going to be hitting it into one of these 2 areas. I think. I could be wrong. I probably am. This hole right here, we were trying to get down into this zone and then take the shot to the cup. I think I'm pretty sure we were hitting off of this and then rolling out. Is that the deal? I think that was the deal. Was we were lofting it over. I don't think we could make it all the way over here, because if we could make it to there, we could make it to here, and if we could make it to here, we could make it to there. And I think with everything you could get on the ball, you could barely get out into this area, and you had a great shot from there. I'm not so sure on this hole. I think we were going straight at it. I was using a Grizzly at max, 0.9 per ring, plus 45 to the cup. The video that I watched, we were working with plus 50, and I think plus 50 was a little teeny bit too much. Not much, but just a little too much. And we were trying to go straight at it and not do the rough bump. But there might actually be, depending on what club you brought here, if you brought a Goliath and you got the topspin of it, and you had a side spin ball, there might be a rough bump that you could do there. But the angle is a little bit, if you get way out into here and then you're trying to do this, it's not nearly as good as if you were out in this area and you really had a straight on rough bump. So I think from out here, we were just trying to go straight at the cup. There you have it. Man, it's always challenging when we're playing these courses that we haven't played that much before, and I think those are the only 2. It seems like there was one other tournament that there was 1 or 2 of these holes that were in it, but it wasn't a full deal. So it came out, I think this is the 2021, I think that was the 2021 or the 2022 Spring Major, and then the Haunted Mansion, and then this tournament right here. So these are relatively new holes for us, so it'll be interesting. I would encourage everybody to play some Tour 4 this week. You can have some fun down there and just go down there and play. And if you get one of these holes, bring out the big stuff, bring out stuff so you can go out there and really practice it and kind of see what the deal is and have some fun this week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, hit subscribe, hit the like button, ring the bell, do all that good stuff, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks for watching, my friends. Stay safe.